Hey everybody, welcome to Mortgage Today for Friday, January 5th, 2024, and oh, what a day it was. Big day today, jobs day. And the market really didn't like the data early. UMBS were down 16 basis points early on the 6.0, and the 5.5 was down 28 bright and early this morning. Nonfarm payrolls came in at 216,000 on 170 forecast. Jesus, that's way off. It was 173 previously. Unemployment rate came in at 3.7 on a 3.8 forecast. Participation rate came in down 0.3%, which implies higher unemployment. Net revisions kind of offset some of this because they revised the previous 2 months by 71,000. Wow, they are bad at generating this number. Average year-over-year earnings are up 4.41% versus a 3.9 estimate. I personally think this is the big stat we need to keep an eye on, is earnings, because earnings are still going up, so people can still debt spend. Once that stagnates or falls, then people can't keep running up their credit cards and maxing them out and paying the minimum monthly payment anymore. 216,000 may not be the world's largest beat versus a 170,000 forecast, but it's certainly not the sort of economic evidence of a tighter Fed policy that leads to high probabilities of lower short-term rates in the near future. The saving grace, if there is any, is this report is effectively uptick in unemployment. Yes, the number is low, and that the number is low at that headline level. Yes, the number is lower at the headline level, but a 0.3 decrease in participation rate suggests unemployment would have risen 0.3% if participation remained unchanged. That would put it at 4% today. Bonds don't love the news, but they're not screaming higher at a ridiculous pace either. But then we got ISM Services PMI, which kind of helped us out a little bit. It came in at 50.6 on a 52.6 forecast. It was 52.7 previously. Services employment was the lowest since July of 2020. ISM service prices came in at 57.4 on 58.3 previously. ISM Services is one of the biggest market movers after the non-farm payrolls and CPI. Today's example is supporting that claim. Bonds have actually moved more in response to this data than the morning's NFP numbers. It has happened before, but it's not common. Those Fridays where bonds move in one direction in response to the jobs report, only to move in the opposite direction after the ISM non-manufacturing index. Considering that both moves were ultimately erased today, we don't feel too compelled to overanalyze, but ISM definitely had the upper hand. Not sure that it should, though. I don't know that manufacturing and services PMI is really as important as jobs. Chalk that up to the jobs report being not as strong as the headline might suggest in the ISM unemployment, and to ISM's employment component being staggeringly weaker. Bonds escaped with minimal damage, especially MBS, as they don't have to worry about the auction cycle like Treasuries do next week, because we have a lot of debt coming to market next week. UMBS 6.0 ended flat today at 101.14. Looking into next week, we have a couple of Fed speaks, so Bostic on Monday. On Wednesday, we get Fed Treasury purchases, so we get to see the Federal Reserve's Treasury purchases schedule. That could move things. Supply and demand is playing a big issue because debt is huge, and we're spending money like crazy. And we also get a 10-year note auction, then Fed Williams speeches, and then Thursday is the big day, core CPI. So the CPI number comes out. We also get jobless claims, and then a 30-year bond auction right after that. So a lot of big data, and then a real life, hey, let's have an auction. Let's see how it goes. And then on Friday, Kashkari speaks, as well as core producer prices. So if you have some time over the weekend, let's work on some of the stuff that we do have control over, which is our own mind and our own knowledge. So check out some of our common sources and influences, which is, well, thatmakesense.com, our sponsor, where there is a great video series going on the awesome, amazing Robert Cialdini book, Influence. And then we're getting ready to start one that is probably the best book I've ever seen on planning your year to be successful, which is Traction by Gino Wickman. So that's coming soon, so subscribe now.